1 second. Okay. So the first topic I would like to discuss is the amount of adults incarcerated in the American prison system. First, let's put things into perspective. America has about 300 million people that are citizens. The global population is somewhere around 7 billion people. America, which only boasts 300 million people, somehow manages to have 1/4 of the entire world's prison population. That is 25% of the entire world's prison population. This is hugely disproportional to our population size. Now let us look inside America. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, an estimated 6,899,000 people were under the supervision of the adult correctional systems at year-end 2013. Now when I say they're under the supervision of the adult correctional system, that means that they could be in jail, they're on parole, or they're just under supervision. So not 6 million people are in jail, but 6 million people are supervised by the adult correctional systems system. That is almost 3% of the entire United States population. Just as the number of people in our prisons is disproportionate in relation to our general population, the races of our prisoners are also disproportionate in regards to their respective populations. Under the Federal Bureau of Prisons, whites make up the most of their prison population, numbering 122,782 people, or 59% of their total prison population. Blacks number 78,021 people, or 37.5% of their total prison population. Asians number 3,186 people, or 1.5% of their prison population. And last but not least, Native Americans number 3,973, or 1.9% of the total prison population. One thing I would like to mention about these statistics are that blacks are, in particular, are grossly overrepresented in the American incarceration system. In America, blacks are a minority numbering much less than white Americans, which are the majority of the population. It makes sense that there would be so many whites in prison because they have the population to justify it. There are a lot more white people than black people. It does not make sense that there are nearly 80,000 blacks in prison when their general population is significantly lower than that of whites. Either blacks as a race commit significantly more crimes, which is not true, or something is wrong with the U.S. justice system that predisposes it to send more blacks to jail than any other race. Now let's move on to gender/sex of inmates. For inmates that are controlled by the Federal Bureau of Prisons, males make up 194,027 people, or 93.3% of their prison population. Women only make up 13,935 people, or 6.7% of their total prison population. It is obvious that males are overrepresented in the prisons of America by a fair amount. Moving on to the age of prisoners in America. According to the Bureau of Prisons, the age group that stands out most in prison populations are those aged 26 to 46. Class also has an influence on who is in prison and who is not. Those that come from a higher social class are much less likely to go to prison because they are much less likely to engage in social deviance. This is Hershey's control theory. The theory states that those who have more to lose are less likely to be deviant than those who have less to lose. Deviant behaviors can include illegal activities. Those who have less to lose are from the lower social classes. Because there is a disproportionate amount of people with little to lose in the lower class, this results in more deviant behavior in the lower class, which leads to more incarceration. Okay, so now let's go on to the second topic, which is incarceration as a punishment. Incarceration as a punishment meets many justifications, but not all. One of the main justifications of incarceration is retribution. Incarceration gives people the satisfaction of moral vengeance. It is a form of revenge in some respects because it pays back what a prisoner did to society by taking away years of their life. Incarceration also serves as a deterrent. It is a means of scaring people into not committing crimes for fear of punishment. There are two types of deterrents that prison manages to make. Specific deterrence only exists after an individual has gone to jail. It is the type of deterrence that makes one think to themselves, I shouldn't commit a crime again, or else I'll go back to jail. The second type is general deterrence, in which the example of punishment of one individual is used to discourage the criminality of others. Incarceration also serves to directly protect society. If a murderer is physically in prison, then he/she physically cannot be in society. If they are away from society, how can they hurt it? They can't. Rehabilitation is another justification for incarceration. Prisoners go into the system and are fixed and then sent back as a functioning member of society. Let's go on to the third topic. It is more than obvious that the American incarceration system is racist. It is blatantly racist. The best instance to observe this phenomenon is to study the punishments given to white and black prisoners. For the same crimes, blacks are punished much more harshly than whites. This is blatantly racist, and there is no other variable that could have counted for longer prison sentences. Moving on to class. Class is a crucial factor in incarceration. The poor are overrepresented in the prison population. There should not be that many poor people in prison in relation to their total population in society. Those that are in a higher social class have more to lose than those of a lower social class. Those that have less to lose are more likely to engage in deviance, which includes illegal activity. Those that engage in deviance are more likely to go to jail than those who don't. Also, those who have more money also can afford better lawyers that can keep them out of jail. Those of a lower social class will not be able to afford a good lawyer and will be appointed a public defendant, which may or not be very good. I heard they aren't. After all I've discussed, I do think that the American justice system should keep incarceration on the table as a punishment for crimes. That being said, there do need to be significant changes. Incarceration should focus more on rehabilitation than punishment. The reason for this is because right now, if one goes to jail, their life is ruined. They cannot vote, they can't find a job easily, and no one likes them. This makes them return to crime and go back to prison. Incarceration needs to reduce the rate of people returning to prison for it to be effective. People that were incarcerated need assistance finding work so they do not resort to crime to sustain themselves. Also, being a felon should not take away one's right to vote. It is a right to vote for American citizens. Rights cannot be taken away. Privileges can be taken away, but not rights. The only way for incarceration to be an effective tool for the betterment of society is for it to reduce the number of people returning to jail and allow felons to vote. Another thing that needs to change is the mass overrepresentation of blacks in prison and the blatant racism in the justice system that hands blacks harsher sentences for the same crimes that white people committed. Incarceration does have positive effects. It protects society from harmful people and serves as a deterrent to others. The negative effects are that many people return to prison. We're creating a cycle of crime and imprisonment, and that it does not rehabilitate enough. All right, that's all I got.